Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Welcome to Pillow Talk with Dr. Boyce and Dr. Alicia Watkins. My name is Dr. Boyce Watkins, and I'm here with my lovely wife, Dr. Alicia. How you doing today, babe?
I'm doing very well this morning. How you doing? And I am so happy you picked this topic.
Yeah. It
Yeah.
it was something that just came to mind today. We woke up. We're getting ready for the Black Achievers event in Louisville, Kentucky, and I just woke up today feeling really enthusiastic. We had a great night last night. I hung out with Jeff Lightsey Jr. and his mom, and then today we're gonna do the Black Achievers banquet. It's a big deal for me.
Yeah, I'm so ready to hear your speech. I love listening to you talk.
Oh, I
Yeah,
appreciate
it's
it.
pretty cool.
Thank you. I love listening to you too.
Huh.
So we decided to sponsor the Black Achievers banquet this year, or be a title sponsor. And if you don't know what Black Achievers is, they're this awesome organization in Louisville, Kentucky. Started actually in the YMCA. They give scholarships to Black kids, and they gave me a scholarship. And when I left high school, and nobody else would, so I got really lucky.
You did get lucky. Look at you. You're giving back. That's
Trying
so
to,
important.
trying to. Yeah. So anyway, let me say good morning to Snack 79, Nathaniel Lockridge, Franklin Longfellow, Jason Moore. I see Jermaine Gooden says he's ready. He can't wait to have the conversation. Straight Shooters University. QJJTV from New Jersey. Let us know what city you're from. Shout out the name of your city. Let me know what city you're from. Okay, King Charles says she's married to a white zaddy. Oh, so yeah. So anyway, one of the things I was thinking about yesterday was, we talked about this before we actually jump into the topic of dating narcissists. You saw yesterday, I did an interesting breakdown about Joe Biden choosing a black woman to be on the Supreme Court. So what did you think about?
Oh, I think it's marvelous.
Yeah,
I'm really, really happy. I don't care who she's married to. Well, actually, it does make a difference, but I think it's so great to have a black woman on the Supreme Court. That is just wonderful. I don't care. You can be married to someone purple. You grew up in this world black.
well, I,
So
I like the fact that her name was Tangi, like my
I
sister.
know. Isn't that great? I've never even met another person named Tangi. Or
Well,
what's
yeah,
her name? Latanja?
yeah.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
my sister's a medical doctor. Shout out to all the smart black women out there. Yeah, so Judge Katanji is running, and I think that both sides can be heard, right?
Hmm.
I did a survey actually on my page, and I asked if people thought that the appointment was kind of worthless symbolism, and actually 70% said they felt like it was worthless symbolism.
No, it's not worthless. I mean, worthless symbolism is probably giving us another holiday, but this is actual somebody who could change society. This
Yeah,
is like big impact. Supreme Court, like look up how much of an impact they're going to have on the country. So
yeah.
I really think it's more than just a gesture. This is really wonderful. I hope she gets through.
Well, you know what? I'll
Yeah.
tell you what, he could have done worse. And, one thing I'll say, though, is I think it is important to at least remember that there is a big difference between a black person who has an origin from, say, Africa
Hmm.
versus a black person who can say, my great 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 grandparent was a slave. When you say my great great great, like I had a great 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 grandfather whose name was Boyce. That's where my name came from. It came from slavery. So what tends to happen is um, that we forget that distinction, and so a lot of people from other countries say America's wonderful, America's great. Then when we say, well, what about reparations? People are like, well, what are you talking about? Like, I don't want to hear that.
No, I know a lot of people from Nigeria. She's from Nigeria.
I think her family's from Nigeria. I
Yeah,
couldn't.
I
I searched around. I couldn't find anything about what part of Africa.
that's not fair because the people I know from Nigeria, they know exactly their blackness and they know exactly. I mean, no one's been harder on black people. I mean, no group of black people have been treated worse than probably Nigerians. You know, that civil war in the country, some really big issues going on in that country. I think there's something to be said about people from Nigeria. So they got a lot to gripe about.
Well, and I think it's an individual basis, right? Because you
Hmm.
can meet an immigrant who completely identifies with what black people are going through, and then you can talk to some people who
Hmm.
look down on black people, right? So it kind of depends. And I really,
I don't get. Well, she could be one of those individuals, but her track record doesn't look like it.
yeah. Well. Anyway,
Hmm.
well, I'll tell you what. It'll be interesting to see how
We
it
got some
plays out.
cynical group of people.
No. It's not cynical. It's
It's
about
just,
no. It's about balance.
it's like it ain't never gonna get better, no
No, no,
matter who
no,
they put it.
no, no,
Like,
no.
come on.
But balance. Remember, balance is not the same as cynicism, right? So I think you can say, you know what, I wish her well, and I think she's a solid choice. But you can also still say, how did you end up? What made you not want to marry a black person? Because who you marry does matter. I think that marrying, I think the
Yeah, but
rate,
it doesn't
like
mean
I
we have to throw the baby out
like.
with the bathwater just because she
Well,
married
I'm
this
not
guy.
right. I agree. I'm not saying throw
I
the
mean, come
baby out. I'm not
on.
saying throw the baby out. I'm saying acknowledge that the bathwater is dirty. But still, you might say, well, this is the best bath the baby can get.
Listen, they're trying to get someone approved,
All right.
and I think just looking at her, okay, forget who she's married to. If you just look at her track record, she's done some really solid things in her career.
She
That's
has.
very, very impressive.
She has.
And
But
she's personally experienced some
I
things.
think she's awesome. I really think. I
Yeah.
really think that she's very.
She's almost
She's
flawless.
better than like Ginsburg,
Oh, for
right?
sure.
Right. But I think at the same time, I think it's still very important. You can still acknowledge both. Like you can still say, remember we noticed that when black people tend to get elevated in the Democratic Party, they tend to be black people who have not had the true black experience in terms of being descendants of slavery, right?
Okay.
So I think that represents, like, remember Barack Obama, Valerie Jarrett, Kamala Harris, none of them are African
No,
Americans.
they're not. But Barack Obama is married to a real black woman.
Now Michelle is African
Michelle,
American. Now
yeah,
I think
Michelle is a
Michelle
real black
Michelle
woman.
right, and that does and that she
That
can't
makes a
right,
difference.
that does
So,
make a difference, right? So
yeah.
I think all those factors. I think that looking at politics in a black and white context never works. I think you have to mix it up, right? So there's a lot of factors that can still be addressed while
Hmm.
still saying, you know what, the good outweighs the bad.
Okay. Well, I'm not going to be negative about everything Biden does. Just like everything Trump did was not 100% bad. Like
Right.
everything, just because you're the president, 100% of everything that you do can't be awful. And I think that we just got to get out of that real negative space. So
No,
I'll
no,
just
no.
leave it there.
Yeah.
This
I
is a
agree.
victory. He campaigned on the fact that he was gonna have a black a Supreme Court justice, a black
Right.
woman, and he followed through on that. So
But that
bravo to Biden for following through on
yeah, that
something.
still don't make me want to vote for him. But that
Of course, I
that would
didn't. I
still
wasn't talking about voting. I was
right.
just talking about, can we at least give him something?
I
He
oh
came
I
through on
well,
something.
remember, babe, nobody ever took it away from him. Nobody ever said, "Oh, that's a terrible choice. What's wrong with you?"
Yeah.
Remember, so because remember, just like you said, Barack married a real black woman, Michelle. Absolutely. So what if Michelle had married Becky instead? Would that mean he's still the same Barack? No. Who you marry does
You mean
matter.
if Barack married
I'm
Becky?
saying that Barack had married
Okay.
Becky because
All
remember
right.
he dated a lot of white women before he dated Michelle. So if he married a white woman, would he be the same Barack Obama?
No, he would not be the
Right,
same, of
right. So
course.
so the same thing is true with Judge Tangi, right? We
Hmm.
could say, look, she's qualified, she's great, she's really done some amazing things. But then it's okay to
Hmm.
say, you know what? You didn't marry. Why didn't you marry a black man? Like it doesn't.
Well, see, her husband is not going up for the judge. She's going up.
Just
So we're just talking.
right.
You know what I mean? So she herself is has experienced something. She comes from a household of educators. You have to look at some of the experiences she's been through.
I agree with
And
that.
so I just
But
want to
who she
say, we
married?
can't just categorically say, just because you date outside of your race, you're garbage.
No, I wouldn't say that because
We're not going
well,
to say
remember
that.
my own goddaughter married a white guy, and he's a wonderful man. So I had not judged him as an individual. I didn't judge him because he's white. I didn't judge. I didn't say, well, you're white, that
Well,
makes you
that's a
evil. And
contradiction.
remember, I couldn't. Right. So I think because remember, the same way you just admitted that Barack marrying Michelle does make a difference. Who
Hmm.
Judge Tangi married does matter. It's not like we could tear it off the
Hmm.
table. We just say,
But maybe
okay,
it's the same thing. Like maybe, maybe she is she's the person in the position though.
right, just like
So we have
Barack
to
is the
look at
person in the
her.
position. So remember, who he married mattered. Just like
Hmm.
well, for her, she's in the position, but who she married does matter,
Okay,
right?
so
So it doesn't.
so okay, so Biden It's terrible. Nothing will ever
No, I never
change.
said that.
Let's
No,
just
remember that. Stop being extremist. Stop
all
going
right.
to the extremes.
Well, I was saying
But
you might be
no,
going
no,
to
no, no.
extreme.
I'm not going to the extremes. I never said she was bad. Let me ask y'all, yes or no? Did I ever say that this woman wasn't qualified to be on the Supreme Court? Did I ever once say I don't
Mm-hmm.
support her nomination? Give me a yes or no, everybody. We about to settle this, and I promise y'all we're gonna get to the other topic in a second. But seriously, I never said that. I just
Mm-hmm.
said all the information. Intelligent black people, in my view, should be taking in all the information.
Okay, so I took in all the information and I've concluded that he could have done a worse job.
Right.
It was bravo to him for following through with what he's done. Let's just give him that.
Yeah, well, you know what? I'll
Can
tell
we
you.
do
Well,
that?
I'm not trying to give anybody anything. I just look at the
I think
facts.
he should.
I give it. What I do is I say, you know what? Yeah, put it on the Supreme Court. A black woman
Yeah, that'd
should
be
have.
great.
Yeah, we should have had a black woman on the Supreme Court a long time ago. Now we got one. I think that's awesome. Or we're gonna get one, hopefully.
We don't know,
Or
but
hopefully there are no bombshells that'll pop out. And she's qualified, you know. But I think, you know, in all fairness, if you're gonna give Barack credit for marrying Michelle, you also have to factor in who everybody marries. Like you can't look at Boyce Watkins without looking at who he chose for a wife. You can't. The fact that I chose you as my wife, and I specifically had told people 5 years before I dated you, 5 years before you and I even started dating, I told people, I said, I don't know if I'm gonna get married, but if I get married, I'm marrying a black woman because I would not feel like I could be the same man.
but there are a lot of people who would criticize you because of my skin complexion. They're like,
Well,
he should have married somebody
well,
darker.
those people can
He
kick
should have
rocks.
married, you know. I mean,
I
so there's
married a woman.
always going to be something. Like
Oh,
there's
I
always going to
don't.
be something that they're going to just try
Oh,
to.
I don't. Oh, the haters get
Oh, and
no.
remember,
The haters get no oxygen up in
remember
here.
how I was really, really in love with what was his name? Willie D. Remember how I was really in love with him?
Oh, that whole rumor about Willie D and all that. Yeah, that was pretty
That
funny.
was my master plan to marry you to get to Willie D.
Get to so you can be with the ghetto
Yeah. So
boys.
what I'm saying is that there's always going to be something somebody's going to try to find.
Oh, I don't.
You know.
Oh, I don't. Oh, but just be clear, I don't give a shit. I just want.
Okay.
I just. Only thing I care about is what I stand on, and that's the thing. And I think it's important for everybody to get that before we move to the next topic.
We gotta get to the
Is you
topic.
have to decide what your own internal, you know, compass or what your internal moral compass is, and you abide by that. I don't build my moral compass on what people think, especially people who are determined to think the worst. No, you
Mm-hmm.
don't. You don't spend your life trying to please people who hate you, and you shouldn't spend your time trying to please people who love you. You got to really start. You got to please the principle. You got to please God. You got to please whatever you stand on. That's what you please. You know, because you run around here trying to make everybody happy, you're gonna drive yourself crazy. Anyway, let's move on. So, welcome everybody, Leslie and Finesse. Okay, so let's jump into
Oh
our
my
second topic for
gosh.
today. We're going to talk about narcissism and how to know if you're dating a narcissist. Now, as we move into this, I want you guys to know what you listen to. You listen to Pillow Talk with Dr. Boyce and Dr. Alicia Watkins. And this is a show where my wife and I literally lay against our pillows and have important conversations about things that are happening in the world and give you a chance to hear what two black professors who love each other talk about when we're laying in the bedroom, because we have interesting conversations like this one where sometimes we just go back and forth.
I like talking to you though.
Well, I love
This is
talking to you.
such a treat.
Oh, talking to you is always a treat. Well, you're just a big treat. Let me just start calling you
Treat.
big snack.
Big snack.
You're just a big old delicious snack. Anyway, let me. So here's the deal. So narcissism. All right. Give me a yes or no. Yes or no. How many in the chat feel like you've had an experience at of dating a narcissist at some point in your life?
Oh my God. Okay, I just want to say I'm really interested to see what people put in here because I think that most of us have not dated a narcissist, although we think we have.
Okay. Teresa says she's dated a narcissist. New Jersey Love says yes. How many of you? Give me a yes. Everybody answer. Everybody answer.
I'm with
How
one
many of
now.
you? Oh, Nathaniel says his ex-wife was a narcissist. Ooh,
Oh my
I love to hear that
gosh.
story. Ooh, Leah says I'm with one now.
I'm
Is he
with one
listening?
now.
Well, go get him and say, hey, babe, I need you to listen to this podcast.
Well, Leah,
Alicia says my
contact me,
ex-husband.
Leah. I can try to work on that with you. My ex-husband, right?
Okay,
So,
Kathy says no.
yeah.
Oh, Greg says he's in love with a narcissist right now. Ooh, that's bad. The world is narcissistic and evil, says White Falcon. That's a
Oh
pretty
my
heavy.
goodness.
That's a pretty heavy perspective. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, so chances are you're probably not dating a narcissist. I think that, first of all, I just want to say, in order to be diagnosed with a narcissistic personality disorder, you have to go through a, an assessment.
Mm,
And even I've been a clinician for what, over 18 years now. And even in my experience, it's really tough to diagnose somebody with
mm,
narcissistic personality disorder. Like, most of the people in the country aren't narcissists, and so I think that just because you date somebody that's mean to you, that doesn't make them full on narcissist. I really hope that the next time the DSM gets together, that they would just eliminate that word
oh,
and
really?
come up with a different one, because it's becoming so popularized and so commercialized as a word. It's just
Mm,
like anybody who's mean is a narcissist. And that's not necessarily what the word narcissism was supposed to be about. So the first sign of a narcissist is someone who is completely insecure. They have
mm,
crippling insecurities,
mm,
extremely insecure
mm.
about who they are. And a lot of it comes from their childhood, so it's developmental.
Okay.
So it's struck by an extreme sense of insecurity. Another sign of, of a narcissist is someone, when they're confronted, because they can be very manipulative. When they're confronted, they never admit their part in it. It's always somebody else. It's
Mm,
never them, and that's because they have this insecurity. They can never ever really admit to anything that they've done wrong. They won't apologize for anything. It's never
mm,
their fault, and it's a catastrophe. And so what happens if you try to corner them, if you try to like point out their discrepancies or just try to call them out on things, they go into what we call a narcissistic rant. They just
mm.
like, they just get very triggered, and they just talk a mile a minute, or they just try to lash out at everything, because underneath all of that is an extreme sense of insecurity.
Wow, wow. So you're saying that that the narcissist is a person who is who I call it the part about not apologizing. I can think of a time where where I dated somebody, and it wasn't until the relationship was over
Hmm.
that I looked back and I said, my God, I've never ever heard her apologize ever.
Okay.
And that made me think that she might have been a narcissist. I
Well.
think like, and then there was some of the things like in terms of gaslighting, the inability to take responsibility for anything. You know, like I remember specifically knowing like what not to bring up, because I knew that if I brought it up to her,
Hmm.
it would throw her in a tailspin, and she would just start getting real defensive and real nasty and real mean.
Hmm.
So I just didn't bring it up, because I was like, well, I'll just keep the peace. And when I decided that I wanted the relationship to end, we've been together 3.5 years. I was like, okay, I think I'm ready to move on. I remember thinking, okay, now I'm just gonna bring it up, and then let the chips fall where they may. And if my guess is right, when I bring this up, it's gonna trigger her. She's gonna go crazy, and she's gonna get mad and just do some disrespectful stuff, which will give us an opportunity to hit the exit door. So, it was so honestly, it was interesting because it happened exactly the way I predicted when I brought up that topic. Really, honestly, let's just keep to be honest with you. This was years ago, but it was the issue was sex. It was like the sex is just you're just not like whatever. So I knew that that would drive her like
Yeah,
like
but
whatever.
that
So
doesn't mean that she's narcissistic. I think that narcissism is a spectrum. Like, there's a lot
mm,
of us probably land on that spectrum at some point, because maybe she was insecure about that element of sex or whatever.
yeah.
And so, but that doesn't mean that she was narcissistic, because that was like a trigger topic for her. That
What about
relationship.
never apologizing ever for anything, never admitting she was wrong?
See, the thing, here's another aspect of narcissism is that they have a need for close connection, but
Mm,
they're very scared by it. So
mm,
but I think that that relationship would never have lasted 3 years or whatever, however long it lasted, if she was really narcissist. I really think that
mm,
she was able to, and your partner is probably able to have some close connection with you, and
mm.
they reject closeness and intimacy because it is very frightening for them.
Well, I agree
And
with
so
you.
they tend to be very loners. They tend to be alone, although deep down inside they really want to have that connection.
Hmm.
So they have a very, and it's attachment issues, it's childhood, it's developmental things that's happening with them. They grew up with this sense of shame,
Hmm.
overwhelming shame in their life, where it's very frightening for them to and probably a whole lot of trauma and all sorts of things that happen in their childhood. So they want to have this closeness, but they just can't take it. They can't take that level of they're just scared. So that's another aspect of narcissism that is very important. And one more thing I wanted to bring out with narcissism, which makes me feel like most of us aren't. In order to be narcissistic, to really have that diagnosis, you need to be there's a self. What is it? There's a self-defeating part of it. Like people who are narcissistic, they often shoot themselves in the foot.
Hmm.
They often do things where it's just detrimental to them. They just blow it up because their insecurity is so high and they need to be better than anyone else. So they have to have this superiority. And not that they have to walk around thinking I'm better than everybody. It has to be shown. I am better than you. There's just this grandiose superiority where everybody needs to know how wonderful I am. And
Hmm.
if they don't, then they go into a tailspin. So,
Hmm.
those are really the signs of a true, and you have to have, I think you need to have all of those elements in order to be a full on narcissistic person. And most of us don't have all of those. We may have aspects of a little bit of those, but we don't have all of that.
So I have a theory.
Yes.
My theory is that if you were to look at all the symptoms of a narcissist and your partner has like five, let's say five out of eight,
Uh
I
huh.
think you might have a shot at being with a narcissist. And I think and really, but
I
here's
don't
here's the
know.
other thing too. Here's the other thing too, right? I think that at the end of the day, if you're just not comfortable with that person, like you just think like whatever they're doing is just driving you crazy, getting on your nerves and making you feel bad, then you shouldn't be with that person. You got to move on. You know.
Yeah, you do need to pay attention to how you feel when you're with your partner. Like if it or a potential partner. If it just feels weird in your gut, you should probably walk away from that.
Yeah.
Don't second guess yourself. Your body is picking up on the bizarre. Your
Mm.
body is picking up on it. You really need to lean on that.
Yeah, well,
Hmm.
everybody, in case you just tuned in, you're listening to Pillow Talk with Dr. Boyce and Dr. Alicia Watkins. Dr. Alicia is a licensed therapist, also a certified life coach, and a full professor of social work. And myself, my PhD's in finance, and we just believe in Black intelligence and Black love. So we enjoy having fun conversations that encourage all of us to think. And so if you are a thinker, or if you love Black people, then this is the place for you. Make sure you subscribe, whatever platform you're on. Hit the subscribe button right now. Subscribe, subscribe, subscribe. Please also hit the thumbs up button. Thumbs up, thumbs up, thumbs up. And I'm gonna shift gears like very
Oh,
quickly
go ahead.
and show
Whatever you want
something.
to.
So because you gave so much deep stuff, you was just dropping knowledge like a brick, girl. And so what I want to do is give us like a fun little mental exercise. I saw this on Instagram today, and it
What
really
is
got
that?
me. So look at that picture. Okay, so what do y'all see?
I can't see.
What
Okay.
can you see?
All right, now I can see.
Okay,
Okay.
what does that look like? Does that look? It looks like a man with his arms around
Yeah, he's like
his wife,
embracing her. Mm-hmm.
right, while she's reading the newspaper, right?
Uh-huh.
Is that what everybody else sees? Give me a yes or no. Yes or no. So check this out. So then I read it and it says, did you notice that the gal is sitting and the boy is hugging her neck? Look again. It is actually the other way around. That actually he's sitting and she's got her arm around his neck.
Oh,
And
cute.
notice that the arms, if you look closely, the arms are hairy and the legs
Oh,
are hairy.
okay.
That got me. I said, well, wait a minute. I had to
That's
keep looking.
pretty cool.
Yeah, it's a crazy
It's like
optical
an
illusion.
illusion. Yeah.
Yeah, I did. I mean, I didn't even catch the fact that the guy was sitting down and the woman was standing up. It's crazy. It's like, whoa. So anyway, that's just a little.
I love that about you. I love that you get so tickled with stuff like that.
Yeah, well,
Like it's so cute about you.
my mother said when I was a little kid, I used to walk around the house with a book full of jokes, and I would just tell my parents jokes all day, and they would just laugh.
That
And
is so cute. See, you're trying to get attention, and I think that's so cute.
I thought it was just funny. I loved like I would read a joke and it would make me laugh, and I'd be like, I want to share this with other people.
How adorable are you?
Yeah, so this
Yeah.
made me think, and I wanted to share that with y'all. All right, so let's get back to our topic. All right, how do you know if you're dealing? How do you know if you're dating a narcissist? So, I check this out. So I found something on survival skills to cope with a narcissist,
Oh
and
gosh.
I don't remember where I got this
You
from.
know, can I just say something? There's so many people online right now, and they are probably having a boom in practice just picking up on this new trendy word narcissist, narcissistic recovery, narcissistic abuse recovery. And I'm not trying to say that that's not happening, but it's just like it has been such a catchy catch all for like all people who do terrible things to you, and that just makes you a narcissist, and it doesn't. And
Okay.
it just drives me crazy. But anyway, go on. What is this?
No, no,
That
they were basically saying, according to this
how
site,
to recover? What are they
yeah,
saying?
don't take it personally, set boundaries, advocate for yourself, create a healthy distance. So that's just all a bunch of crap
Yeah,
to
I
me.
mean, the thing is that people who are narcissistic are extremely unhappy in their life.
Mm,
Like they're constantly worried. It's a lot of anxiety. They're just a bottled up mess. And
mm,
so really there is no revenge for them. You just walk away. You really just don't feed it, because narcissists need to be fed. There's like a feeding, like they need to be seen all the time. And when they're not, they really do lose it,
mm,
because underneath it is just extreme insecurity. They need to have security, need to be seen in a certain way. So the best way to deal with a narcissist is just mute them. Do not feed into it. Don't
mm,
feed into their narcissistic need. Their need to be filled up, I guess, with this. I don't know if I want to call it like narcissistic fuel. They have to have it. and
mm,
and I think that's why you get a lot of prominent individuals who just have to have the spotlight all the time, and they can't take
mm,
not having the spotlight.
mm.
That's a sign of narcissism.
Wow.
So the best way to deal with them is just not feed into it.
Wow. Now, some of you were asking about Alicia's website. I forgot to mention that. It's coachingwithdralicia.com. She does actually see individuals and couples. And she's a therapist, a licensed therapist. So if you'd like to learn more about what she does, feel free to go to coachingwithdralicia.com. The URL's on the screen. So, you know what? I'll
Oh,
tell you.
someone was like, so who do they date? Yeah, they date people who can feed into their narcissism.
Mm,
They date people that they could use. And they don't really love someone. They just love the fact that they can manipulate other people. They love
ooh,
you because they can manipulate you. And whenever it gets to the point where they can't manipulate you anymore, they don't love you. They don't have no need for you, no use for you at all.
mm,
You're
wow.
not useful to me.
Wow. That's heavy.
Yeah.
Well, I'm still stuck on that whole part about never apologizing.
They don't
I personally
apologize.
think anybody who doesn't have the ability to apologize is
Hmm.
either that to me is extreme insecurity and
Yeah.
just a weird selfishness. And somebody used the term professional victim.
Hmm. Well,
Um,
they feel like they don't feel like here's the thing. Like if you grow up in a household where let's see, you spill over a glass of milk, and you say, and you had a parent that was able to say to you, um oh, what you did was careless. What you did was careless, but you're a great person. So if you got the message that you're a great child or you're a great person, but what you did was bad, if you forget homework or you don't do well on an assignment, and you were just punished for what you've done and not for who you are as a person, then you have a healthy sense of self. So people who are narcissistic have no sense of self. It's
mm,
totally unhealthy. And so, but if you grew up and you make a mistake and they turn it into you are a mistake. Your parents or whoever was caring for you when you were a child made you feel like you were unworthy, made you feel like you were a mistake. Not the actions that you do, but there's something flawed within yourself. There's a high sense of shame that comes with that. And so that's kind of the beginning stages of a narcissist.
wow,
Yeah. So be
wow,
sure when you're parenting, your children, that you let them know that they're fantastic but their behavior is unacceptable. And I tell my kids that all the time. Your behavior is unacceptable.
Hmm.
You're late. You're late getting downstairs to catch the bus. This is unacceptable. Your behavior is unacceptable, but you're acceptable.
Well, our kids aren't late getting on the bus anymore because I bought a bullhorn from Amazon.
Good for you. You
And
know,
I
my
turned.
mom was looking for it
I don't.
yesterday.
Where's she?
Yeah, she was like, "Where's that bullhorn? I'm gonna use it."
Oh yeah, and the little one sent me a text and said, "Please do not tell Nana where the bullhorn is."
Oh, that's why.
Yeah,
That's why she sent it to you.
that little sneaky. Well, I only had to use it once though, but it because it was so loud. It was so loud, and I loved it. It was great. But by the way, on a side note, I want to give a shout out to brother Nuri Muhammad. If y'all don't know Nuri, you should know him. He is a brilliant guy, and he's a great friend. And he was just on the Breakfast Club. And I just want to mention him real quick because Nuri spoke at the All Black National Convention. He is a wealth of knowledge for the community. He's an extraordinary leader, and he's just a great guy. And so I just want to congratulate him publicly on this because I think our community is always better off when we're hearing from people like Nuri Muhammad. He's a true leader.
Look at that! Look at that plaid suit. He is really rocking that plaid
Look
suit.
at Sharp.
What a wonderful, and his talk at your at the convention was just so marvelous.
Oh,
I mean, the
he
room was
tore it up.
packed, and he was. I mean, he delivered the information so well, and he was funny and charming and all of that.
Yeah, he's a wonderful human being
And
I
very, very
respect him
smart, of
immensely.
course.
Yeah, and also shout out to the Nation of Islam and Minister Louis Farrakhan. The minister's doing his swan song, his last presentation on Sunday, and
Are we
um,
gonna make it?
I'd like to go. We're here for the Black Achievers event, and also, my daughter Carmen had the accident
Mm-hmm.
with the drunk driver, and I want to go see Carmen. So if I could find a way to do that, I'll try to get down there. But if not, I may not be able to make it, but I just want to let everybody know I have so much respect for the nation, so much respect for the minister, and also Nuri and Wesley Muhammad and Riza Islam and Brother Ben X and all the great guys and women in the Nation of Islam. So anyway, okay, so let's finish up on our conversation about narcissism. By the way, everybody, if you could, please hit the thumbs up button, thumbs up, thumbs up, thumbs up, share, subscribe. Also, make sure you subscribe to the channel. And also Alicia's website is coachingwithdralicia.com. Feel free to visit her site if you'd like to know more about what she does. So what would be some takeaways about in this whole, narcissism conversation?
Well,
I mean, I'm going to lean on you for this. I'll give, can I give like a quick Dr. Boyce
you can give a quick
thought?
Dr. Boyce thought.
Okay. When I spoke at my brother's wedding, I was his best man. He was my best man too. And at the wedding, they had me stand up, give a speech for like 4 minutes. And you know what the point of my speech was?
Mm-hmm.
You know what I said?
What'd you say?
I said, I believe if you want to have healthy relationships, one rule you could consider is don't be an asshole.
Oh, really?
Just don't be an asshole. Seriously. and it's simple. It sounds like I'm oversimplifying it, but I just really believe, what I decided I wanted in my life? I decided I want good people in my life. Like, I want considerate human beings. I want people that want to get along. And maybe my perspective is different because I met so many people, so many different types of characters in the line of work that I'm in. When you go around the world and you're meeting, hundreds of people at a time, you see different personalities. And I just decided, I said, I want good people around me. I don't want to have to be gangster with you to get you to act right. I don't want to have to threaten you or figure out how you're manipulating me or manipulate you as much as you're manipulating me. That's stressful. Just be just be a decent person and I'll be decent to you, Like, I think that really helped because that took a lot of pressure off. Like the people that I have around me are people that I don't feel like I have to fight them to get, to keep their respect or to keep them being nice. They just do it because, or even people I hire, in my company. I don't want to have to micromanage you to get you to do your job. You should want to do your job because that's who you are. And I have people like that. Like they just want to do a good job because that's how they're built. And so, I don't know. Maybe I'm oversimplifying it. But I do believe in this world, you have people that really get up every day. I don't know. Give me a yes in the chat if you understand it, or if you're consider yourself in that category, there are just good people in the world who ain't trying to hurt nobody, who ain't trying to get nothing out of people, who aren't going to do you dirty. And I really encourage good people to love yourself enough to demand of the universe
Mm-hmm.
that you have good people in your life. That's it. Like that's the one area where you pull out your sword. I'm going to be a good person, so I demand that the people around me are good people too. I will fight and defend that. And if I get a sense that you don't fit the description, then I'm gonna have to put you out of here.
Okay, so I mean, you don't have to be a good person if you already are a good person, right? So it's
Okay.
not like I gotta work to be a good person. You know, I mean, you are a good person, but you have to know it. And a lot of people don't know it. And a lot of people get squished into situations where not the best side of them comes out. And so I think that you also have to give people an opportunity to say, gosh, that I behave less than ideal, and I should do better, and I'm sorry.
Hmm.
So I think that if you're around somebody and they're at their worst and they aren't able to look back on that and see their part in the situation, it's always somebody else, then it is time to let that person go.
That's true. And I do
Yeah.
find that people behave differently based on
Mm-hmm.
um what they're feeling. Like sometimes people under stress, they
Uh-huh.
their personality shift,
Yeah.
or like if they're having financial problems or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And I do agree. I think part of being about being committed to being a decent human being is trying to have enough empathy and um enough security about who you are to kind of not take it personally if a person's behavior shifts because they're going through something or whatever, because sometimes people, it's like stealing. Like most people aren't thieves and they aren't killers, but if they're starving to death, if their baby's starving, then they can become a thief. It doesn't mean they're a bad person. They don't want to steal, but they're doing it because that's the
Their
only.
back's against the wall.
Right,
Mm-hmm.
right. So I think there can be an allowance for that, but I think overall, generally speaking, I'm really sensitive to some of that because when I got more so quote unquote famous, internet famous, and had a little bit more money, I started just seeing people. I would see people who would do things like they'd be super nice to me because
Mm-hmm.
of who I am and they want to get close to me. But I learned how to watch how they treat other people. And I think Muhammad Ali used to talk about that. He said, I'm not looking at how you treat me. I'm looking at how you treat the waiter, because that tells me how you treat people when they have nothing to offer you. And I do
Mm-hmm.
that. I started watching, like I'd meet somebody and they'd want to talk to me. And I would talk to people I trust and I say, well, what was that person like when you talked to them when I wasn't around? And if they gave me a different report, I'd say, okay, I don't want a person like that around me, because
Mm-hmm.
that to me is who they really are. They're just being nice to me because they want to get close to me.
Mm-hmm.
So I think little things like that. So maybe the translation is maybe for women, same thing. You got to figure out, okay, he's being super nice to you, bring you flowers every day because you got the goodies. You got God's golden gift, between your legs perhaps, and beyond that he's trying to get access to. But you got to see what kind of man is he when he isn't getting something
Yeah, it's so
from you.
easy to pick up on that. It's really many women who are fooled like that. It's like they're allowing themselves to be fooled. I mean, there's signs along the way. You can't. There'd be red flags along the way.
Yeah.
You have to really know how to pick up on them. And a lot of times, there's so many times where people are just like, I knew it. I knew something was off. I knew something wasn't right. It's just like you
Mm.
show yourself. You don't even know, but you're always showing yourself.
Yeah, yeah, and I think you gotta vet people. Take your time, get to know them. Don't
Oh, take it
don't be
slow.
don't be jumping in the bed with people when you know them for 4 days.
Take it slow. Yeah.
People will swipe left on Tinder, and next thing you know, they're having sex, and I think that's kind of a dangerous game to play. Because I found that taking the time, if you take the time and get people to let people talk, eventually they tell on themselves. Like when I was single and I would try to figure out if a woman was somebody I wanted to have around. I'd love to hear stories. My question is like, I wouldn't say it like this, but I would try to figure out how do you treat your worst enemy? Tell me about a time where you were really mad at somebody, and what did you do? Right. So if she says, yeah, he really hurt my feelings, so I busted out his tires and shot his dog and like whatever, then I'd be like, ooh, so that means if I make you upset, you're gonna shoot my dog, you're gonna bust out my tires, you know? And that's a good thing to notice. That's a little tip for everybody. Like, listen to them. Like, if you let people talk long enough, eventually they'll tell you who they are. You got to believe them, like Maya Angelou said, and wait till they tell a story about when they were really upset. That tells you how bad they can be at their worst. So
Okay.
I'll let you
Yeah,
get
I
the
mean
final thought there.
everybody has baggage.
Everybody has.
Everybody has baggage that they
Mm,
bring to every relationship, and you do need to take a look at that and decide if that's something you want to put up with. We
that
all
is so
have our
true.
baggage.
That is so true.
Oh
Well,
Lord.
before I let Dr. Alicia to give us our final thought, I just want to remind everybody you're watching Pillow Talk with Dr. Boyce and Dr. Alicia Watkins. And if you haven't subscribed to Boyce and Alicia TV.com, make sure you do that. That's where we host most of our Pillow Talks. We syndicate on different platforms, but that's where you can subscribe. And we Alicia loves to share information and stuff like that. And also her website is coachingwithdralicia.com. And if you want to follow me on Instagram as well, you can follow me at The Real Boyce Watkins, or you can follow Alicia at Coaching with Dr. Alicia. So, do you have any final thoughts that we can carry away from
Well,
this conversation?
my final thoughts about, are you dating a narcissist? Probably not. Chances are you're not. I don't think too many people fit the full criteria of a full on narcissist, but there are probably some elements that you have too, and that your partner has, that probably that can be worked on. I think that there are some things. A lot of people grow up with shame. A lot of people grow up feeling inferior in their life, and they try to compensate for it in many different ways. And some people compensate for it in a way that feels they need this void that needs to be filled up with this narcissism energy. And so it's not the end of the world. I think that a lot of these issues can be worked out.
Mm. Okay. All right. Well,
Don't just throw your husband away because you feel like, and don't just read that list of, you can look it up, you can Google the criteria for narcissism and read that list off and be like, that's him, or that's her. It's not. It's a clinical word. These are clinical words, and chances
mm.
are that they're probably not. They're probably just get on your nerves.
So
They
maybe
make you mad.
you have a baby narcissist versus like a full grown
Yeah,
narcissist.
little tiny a sprinkle of narcissism.
There we
You
go.
know.
Interesting. Interesting. Does the doctor believe that addiction and narcissistic behavior mirror each other? That's a great question, Greg. What do
Oh,
you?
that's a whole nother topic. Maybe we'll do another pillow talk on that.
Yeah,
Addictions.
oof, addictions. Oh Lord
Hmm.
Jesus. All right, guys. Well, it was real. It was wonderful talking to you. God bless you. I hope you guys will hit the thumbs up button before you go. Also, subscribe. Coachingwithdralicia.com. That's Alicia's website. And if you just want to support our platforms for intelligent Black people, we'd love to have you as a patron at intelligentblackpeople.com. That's how we're going to take over the world, one nickel at a time. And we believe Black people should be intelligent. We believe that Black love is very important. And we believe that smart Black people should get as much attention as the rappers. So that's what we're doing. This is the takeover. So I hope you'll join us in this journey, and we appreciate you all very, very much, and love you with to infinity and beyond. Have a
Okay.
good day, everybody.
Goodbye, everyone.